So, hello and welcome back to Becoming You. Today we arrive at what I believe is a really important chapter in this entire series. It's called Becoming Fully Seen. Now, living authentically with others. Throughout this series, we've been working on one relationship above every other, the relationship you have with yourself. You've learned how to understand yourself, how to listen to your feelings, how to challenge your inner critic, how to reparent your inner child, how to become your own safe person. But today, I want to ask you a question that takes us beyond your inner world. If you've become safe with yourself, can you now allow someone else to know the real you? Because that is the next stage of healing, not just knowing yourself, but allowing yourself to be known. Many people reach a point in therapy where they feel calmer than they have in years. They understand themselves better, they judge themselves less, they feel more emotionally balanced, and yet they still experience a quiet loneliness. Now, that loneliness often isn't caused by a lack of healing, it's caused by a lack of visibility. They've become comfortable with themselves in private, but they're still hiding themselves in public. They still edit what they say, they soften their opinions, they smile when they're hurt, they agree when they disagree. They continue performing a version of themselves that once kept them safe. From the outside, they appear authentic, but underneath, they're still managing other people's impressions and expectations. And that's an important distinction, because healing yourself and revealing yourself are two different achievements. This chapter is about the second one. I often say to clients that the opposite of shame is not confidence, it's being fully seen and discovering that you're still worthy of love and connection. Confidence can be built on your own. You build confidence every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you face something difficult, every time you discover that you're stronger than you imagined. But shame lives in relationship, which means shame also heals in relationship. The deepest healing comes when another human being sees the parts of you that you once believed made you unlovable and stays. That experience changes something profound inside us. So why is this so difficult? Well, the answer, I believe, lies in the different agendas of the inner child and the inner critic. Your inner child longs to be seen. It always has. Every child wants someone to look at them and say, I see you, I understand you, you don't have to pretend with me. But the inner critic learns something very different. It learned that visibility sometimes brought criticism, rejection, disappointment, or even withdrawal. So it developed a strategy: stay hidden, stay acceptable, stay easy to like, because if people never met the real you, they can never reject the real you. That strategy probably made perfect sense when you were a child, but many of us continue living by that strategy decades later, long after the danger has passed. We become experts at being acceptable rather than authentic. We over-accommodate, we minimize our needs, we apologize for taking up space. We become perfectionists because perfection feels safer than honesty. We become people pleasers because disagreement once felt dangerous. We become emotionally self-sufficient because needing people once felt too risky. Eventually, we discover something painful. We may be accepted by many people, yet feel that nobody truly knows us. Now, that brings us to one of the more important distinctions in this chapter: the difference between acceptance and belonging. Acceptance means people approve of the version of you they've been shown. Belonging means people know the real you and choose to stay. Those are not the same thing. Many people spend their entire lives chasing acceptance without ever discovering whether they truly belong. Why? Because belonging requires something acceptance does not. Visibility. It requires the courage to remove the mask, and that's frightening because authenticity always carries risks. There is no guarantee that everyone will welcome the real you. Some people won't. Some relationships may change. But here's a remarkable thing. The people who only wanted the edited version of you were never really connected to you in the first place. They were connected to the performance you. The people capable of genuine intimacy are the ones who become more interested when the performance ends. So what does healthy authenticity actually look like? It doesn't mean telling everyone everything. It doesn't mean oversharing, for example. It doesn't mean exposing your deepest wounds to people who haven't earned the right to hear them. Healthy vulnerability always includes discernment. Not everybody deserves unrestricted access to your inner world. No. Emotional maturity means learning who handles your vulnerability with care and who uses it against you. One of the most important skills you'll ever develop is choosing safe people. Because vulnerability without discernment isn't courage, it's simply exposure. Another form of courage this chapter asks of you is something many people find surprisingly difficult: the courage to disappoint people. Think about that for a moment. How much of your life has been organized around avoiding someone else's disappointment? If your answer is quite a lot, you're certainly not alone. But every time you organize your life around keeping everyone else comfortable, you quietly hand over authorship of your own life. Your inner nurturing parent has a different message. It says, I care about people deeply, but I will not disappear so they never have to feel disappointed. Healthy adults occasionally disappoint other people. They say no. They choose differently. They hold boundaries. They express honest opinions. They remain kind, but they remain themselves. And that is what emotional adulthood looks like. And then something beautiful begins to happen. You start finding your people, your tribe, not because you're become more impressive, but because you're becoming more visible. Your tribe isn't attracted by perfection. They're attracted by your authenticity. You'll recognize them by how easy it feels to stop performing. You'll notice conversations where you no longer monitor every word before speaking. You'll disagree without fearing abandonment. You'll express uncertainty without feeling ashamed. You'll laugh more naturally. You'll breathe more easily. You'll leave feeling more yourself than when you arrived. That's belonging. So here's a simple exercise I'd love you to try this week. Choose one relationship that matters to you, then choose one small truth you've been quietly editing out. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It might simply be saying what you actually prefer, expressing a feeling you've been softening, admitting you need help, saying, actually, I don't agree, or simply saying, that hurt me. Before you say it, notice what happens inside you. Notice the anxiety, notice the old prediction that something terrible is about to happen, then gently say the true thing anyway. Afterwards, don't just notice the other person's response, notice your own response. Notice what it feels like to remain present while being seen. Each one of those moments becomes evidence for your inner child that visibility is survivable. And over time, those moments become something even more powerful. They become the foundation of authentic relationships. So as we come to the end of today's video, I'd like to leave you with this thought. Everything we've explored throughout Becoming You has been preparing you for this moment. Not simply learning to love yourself behind closed doors, but learning to let someone else witness the person you've become. Because the goal was never simply inner peace, the goal was connection without pretending. Remember this, the opposite of shame is not confidence, it is being fully seen and discovering that you are still worthy of love and connection. And that discovery can never happen alone. It only happens when the real you finally steps into the light and discovers that the people who truly matter were waiting there all along. Thanks for joining me today. If this chapter resonates with you, I'd love you to subscribe to my channel and continue this journey with me through the rest of the Becoming You series, based on a shortly to be published book of the same name. Until next time, take care of yourself, and perhaps this week, allow just a little more of you to be seen.